Hello and welcome to this editor at ETCIO. First of all, I wish and hope that all of you are doing well. These are indeed uncertain times. Now, coming to the topic for today's discussion, it's largely focused on crafting intelligent knowledge management, customer self-service in Industry 4.0. Now, before we proceed further, let me add some context to this discussion. Well, we see that customer self-service is becoming the preferable support channel of a hands-on call or agent support. We also see and witness that more than 81% of customers will try self-service first via search engines, company websites, mobile applications, or chatbots for that matter. Consumer durable manufacturers are looking to deliver low effort, high value, and personalized experiences in this domain. Well, the key to effective self-service is the availability of the right knowledge and resources at the customer's fingertips. Smart knowledge management begins at the customer's first point of need and makes the right answers quick and easy to find. The challenge is surfacing content exactly when customers have a problem or question. Organizations need a customer experience platform that can unify the content their customers need into one self-service experience, extending to agents and through any preferred channel, device, language, and at any time. To overcome that challenge, today's customer experience focused manufacturing organizations leverage enterprise grade knowledge management from a CX platform. Well, this roundtable discussion brings together experts to discuss the challenges of knowledge management systems and ways to overcome them by creating personalized customer experiences. And there couldn't have been a better time to discuss all this because for today's discussions, we have a lineup of extremely knowledgeable and insightful speakers. I would like to take this opportunity to introduce our guest speakers. It is my pleasure to introduce Gigi Oman, Chief Technology Officer, Avas Financiers, Piyush Srivastav, Head IT, the Muthoot Group, Ashish Tiwari, Head of Engineering, Neo Solutions, Yogesh Pasrija, Group Manager, IT, Toyota Material Handling India Private Limited, Vivek Javani, Head Digital and CISO L&T, Abhay Bapna, Associate Vice President IT AWL, Philip Mercia, Vice President Analytics, AI and Digital Asia Pacific at NICE, and last but not the least, Sanjay Gupta, Managing Director, South Asia and Middle East at NICE. Well, I would really want to begin the session by throwing a few opening questions to the tech leaders who are here. And to do that, I would really want to go to Abhay for his opening remarks on this discussion.
Good afternoon, everybody. And the topic is relevant from today's agenda point of view, and what we are seeing the change in the behavior of the both internal and external customers. When you say internal customers, employees are the key customers. Inside, if employee is happy, then he makes our customers also happy. So what are the things which employee need, where, because the information is power, and unless we provide at plant level and the sales level information, so what we expect is like say example which we have done is more of a plant maintenance activity where the engineers or the supervisor at the plant level, he needs the information of the tool which needs repair, and which is easy, easy in the terms of flow of information, where he finds that he don't have to depend on anybody, and the information is both historical and about the product which he is going to use, or where the problem needs to be solved. So we have both component. First focus was on the mobility, second was on the UI UX, third was the information which is needed, which should come in the flow, where he is drill down approach which is needed instead of asking too much questions. So in our case, we have used for manufacturing side, where the plant maintenance is the one challenge, where we have used for a maintenance activity. And the second component which we are saying is the sales and salesman going to the market, having right information, easy to diagnose the problem, easy to have the right information when he talks to the customer about product, about inventory, about ordering and all this. So we have a two-fold approach, and the experience depends on the manufacturing side. I feel the experience is improving in the sense that the information which he needs to solve the problem is available at his fingertip. You don't have to call up 10 people and solve the. So therefore the adaptation in that area is increasing. But at the sales level, I feel it will still take time because there are challenges at the multiple level, users behavior, expectations. So that's where I feel it is taking some more time for us, but it is going to happen. But another area where we found it, we tried couple of times, that is more on the ordering system, where we in our case it is consumer products, so ordering by, it's mostly done by housewives, where we found that if we have AI based customer experience, that is the providing input on their product and drilling down, that's where I found initially that asking too much questions which are based on the historical data and going to the last mile what they want, there I found it little bit challenging. But in case of manufacturing, we were little more clear because the historical data are good. And another area where we have used it at the call center level, but that is more on the internal side. External side, we are finding it little bit challenging, and it's a journey, I feel.
Wonderful, Abhay. I think those were remarkable inputs, as we flag off this discussion. And you spoke about it being a journey, and I can actually visualize it as one, where you talked about how, this has happened in several of the functions in your organization, and, going to happen in some of them. Excellent inputs coming from Abhay. Now, I would really want to go to Yogesh. So, Yogesh, this is something that I spoke about during my context setting as well, and which was that, in today's day and age, customer experience is becoming a key metric for every business today. How do you see this increase in the importance of, providing seamless customer experience in today's day and age?
Thank you. Okay. And thank you very much for the context Abhi has already given, and Emma, you have put in that. So if we talk about that in especially if we talk about last few years, the customers are same. I'm not talking about long back, but last few years. But the customer expectations levels are increasing now. So especially post-pandemic, if we talk about, customers are more inclined to digital world. So that I mean to say, it is not that they need to have a call or something. They want first time at the first level, it should be resolved at their side and their team. And it is not dependency should be removed from the OEM, the other side. So now this is basically, this is the main reason which I believe that everyone's focus becoming to be on customer experience through technology. And products which are basically earlier before pandemic, it was a kind of a luxury kind of things are there, but now it has become a commodity. So it is not becoming, because now this is a totally a change point. Sometimes you call it customer experience 2.0 or something different on that side. The reason is that only the expectation level and dependency on the technology more what we feel was the missing, or the growth, the level, the technology adoption was there, that is going increased a lot. And at Toyota, we have basically focused to the customer on that, and we in fact use AI, IoT things we have worked on, and we good use case we have for that. So that's what we did in this case.
Right. So excellent, response coming from you, Yogesh, where you spoke about how customer expectations have really, really increased manifold, exponentially, I would say, and particularly after the pandemic times where people got used to using a lot of digital tools. Excellent. But you also, Yogesh, spoke about how you have been using for these for several of the use cases in your organization. Would you like to elaborate on this a little?
Okay, I will give you that one of the case that we are using IoT. Basically, how it is, what it is there is a we have a forklift, basically warehouse equipments which are moving, fleets are moving within the warehouse. Now, to what is the utilization of that? How to optimize use that? So we have an IoT device, and the IoT solution basically help the customer to increase their safety, so reduce cost and basically improve their productivity with reports and analysis, the kind of things we provide on that. And we also do provide ongoing advice and support that to they get it on any of their device, like it's in a mobile or in the laptop. They can just click and see. Say your 50 fleets are roaming around across your India. So you can see what is the utilization, where is the risk is there. So you can mitigate that risk. And more, our as a Toyota always focus on the preventive rather than a care point of view. We'll just look for a care is better than a cure. So that's what we focus on. And with that perspective, we use technology here.
Right, right. Now I would really want to go to Gigi. So Gigi, would you like to elaborate and talk about some of the challenges, that enterprises usually face, technology leaders also face those, while they're trying to deal with knowledge management systems, particularly in the realm of customer experience?
Sure. Thank you so much, first of all, for having me on this forum. Yeah, so I represent, I come from financial services industry. We are one of the fastest growing and largest affordable housing finance company in the country. We got to deal with a good number of retail customers who are basically from unserved, underserved kind of market, who are majorly the Bharat customers, category of customers. Our business is entirely customer facing, right? So right from sourcing the business to underwriting the loan, disbursing the loan, and of course, managing the entire life cycle of the loan, right? And the relationship on an average lasts with a customer for about 8 to 10 years, while of course, even if we consider the pre-closures of the loan, etc., but the average life cycle of a loan stands for about 8 years. So you can imagine that what is the amount of information, which is gathered over the course of this entire tenure, right, of relationship with the customer. Now, each stage of the process, right, has different significance, right, of having the right information. Say to start with, the sourcing time, right? Of course, sourcing time, it's more about, the customer's demographic information, the financial information, the customer's credit worthiness. That's the kind of information that we got to have. Of course, a lot of this information are available through external sources. A lot of information need to be gathered while talking to the customer. And that information becomes even credit bureaus and, the India stack, a lot of public infrastructure, right, which is available now for, gathering this information. So all of these are put together to take the credit underwriting decision, right? So there, the information definitely is very important to take the quality decision. So the objective of information is very different at that stage, right? Now, the customer has passed that stage and you are now going to the next stage of servicing the customer, right? And over the course of many years, right, that you deal with the customer, you have several information, right, that are getting now the, repayment history of the customer, the interaction that you are having with the customer at different touch points, right? Whether it is through contact center, app, your portals, branch, right? All this information becomes very vital, right? And then you need to have this information available in the ecosystem for two things, right? One, of course, you need to have a seamless, customer needs to have the right experience when they come to us. Second, we also need to use this information to proactively, assess risk, right? If this customer is going to become a potential defaulter, or if this customer is going to go to another lending company, right, and transfer the loan. So for us, information is very vital, right? And you have so many different touch points. And today, if I have to say that our customers, almost more than 50 to 60% of our customers actively use our app and various other digital channels. Almost 80% of those, or 80 to 90% of those customer touch points have so much automation that they're able to self-service many things. So whether the customer is coming and taking your service without even you coming to know, or if customer is talking to the contact center team or the branch team or the relationship executives, then what is the sentiment of the customer, right? Why are they coming to you at first place, right? So all these aspects from a retention perspective, and of course, is this customer going to default in the, in the subsequent months? So, information is definitely a very critical aspect in our business, and we do use a lot of algorithms and analytics tools to manage the or to leverage this information, right, for different touch points. So yeah, so point is that not having the right information is definitely a big risk for a lending institution like us. Not having the information organized in the right way, because there are so many different touch points, and unless you have that information available for you to leverage, and unless that information is organized and stored and maintained in the right fashion, and you're able to make it available for decisioning, right? So that's more crucial, right?
Totally agree with you. This is the age. This is the information age. Information is absolutely a necessity, and equally necessary and important is the fact that it has to be organized and structured in the right manner. Wonderful comments and remarks coming from you, Gigi, where you took us through the various functions and how you have been trying to leverage all this information in trying to provide better and better customer experiences. Now, Piyush, I would like you to jump into the discussion. And so I see that you work for a big conglomerate, and of course in the financial domain as well. So how would you like to add to this discussion in terms of the challenges that we have been talking about?
Thanks for this for getting me here and for this discussion. It's wonderful to be with all the leaders here in this field. I somehow feel that we all the while we as part of IT or as part of business, we've been trying to accumulate a lot of information. We've been looking at means in which we can get information with us through various sources, channels. But I think till now we have actually not been able to utilize this. Somewhere we feel very proud of having all the information with us, but actually getting the actual results is where we sometimes kind of fail. Not to a very large extent, but yes. So to get the real insights, I think we should know what kind of data we have, how portable the data is, how useful it will be, and how quickly a customer can actually utilize it. So currently there are two sets of data or the users we have. One is obviously the customer who would run the business. The other is the employees. Now, though they are two different set of people, but then they are all related, because unless we understand how we work, we cannot deliver to the client or the customer. So Muthoot Finance, as you know, is into gold loan. So we have and we are a very old company in terms of gold, and we have kind of made our processes we've optimized our processes to deliver a loan in, let's say, within 15 minutes. Earlier it was 5-15. So our USP is that we are able to give loan quickly. Now for that we have to have we need to kind of satisfy the customer at the earliest, and we have to have our processes in place. Now, ensuring that the customer is validated, and there's no, we ensure that there is no fraud as well. So, we have to have the information sent and validated at the earliest, right? So for that, we have the technology in place where we validate with the authorities. Plus, in terms of when we talk about service, then we need to have such tools in place where, in case the customer moves out of the branch, he is catered to without any issues. So for that, you need to have various tools in place. Like currently we have this AI-driven chatbot, which if we say that we put it on our website or if we give you an app, probably will not be that useful, right? So there has to be a means through which they can connect to the chatbot as well. right? Apart from it, having the latest or the most the relevant or real-time information. Now, for that, you need to have various channels, right? Now we're talking about having it integrated with WhatsApp. So we have WhatsApp because that's something which we saw during pandemic was the most used kind of a tool. So so just not having the information, but also having a means to connect to that information is very relevant. So and obviously it is also important in this current scenario where we have because the information getting shared everywhere, we have to be very sure that the information of our customers is very secured. So again, we have to have those means through which we can secure this information. Now, how, as in, I somehow feel that it's just not machine learning, it is just not NLP, it is also the artificial intelligence which comes into picture. Now, these are all related to each other. This all sits on a certain set of information we have. As I said, information is there, but we have to utilize it. Now, AI comes into picture and makes it more relevant. It doesn't give a bias. It kind of tells you what it is industry wide, and it gives you the best practice. If you look at it. Now, that again has to sit on these different bots, because what information a customer wants, probably it gets interpreted in a different manner. It comes to you. This is what we understand the customer needs, right? So that gap between the customer understanding and our delivery to the customer has to now become very seamless, and that can only come through the AI driven tools we have. And so, like we mentioned about IoT. So at the branch as well, we have IoT driven devices, right? Now just the opening of the vault is based on a certain validation. It cannot be opened by anybody, right? So that information comes through different devices, whether it is a mobile, it is phone numbers. So this information has to be really very secured and right. Otherwise, we were talking about a lot of such incidents which can happen. So keeping the information secured and keeping right is very important. Again, a lot of our security at the branches are driven through AI. How it interprets the data at the branch, and then it sends an alert to our central monitoring station, is very important. Now, again, the transfer of the information through various means has to be immediate. Otherwise, we cannot have a delay of even like 2 or 5 minutes to say. So I think somewhere, keeping the information and moving it across for relevant usage, both for the customer and for the staff, is very important. For that, the data has to be up to the mark and definitely cleansed and right. The same goes for the customer as well. I feel their information, their loan, their credibility has to be validated before we actually take any action or take any informed decisions about it. So that's my take on especially to the kind of business we do, because it is a sentimental and emotional asset which we keep. So we really cannot compromise with the customer data. Yeah.
True. So it's really heartening to note, Piyush, that you have been experimenting with a lot of technologies and tools, and you rightly pointed out to the prominence and the significance of something like artificial intelligence. And in fact, you have provided me the perfect segue to my next question, which is for Ashish. So Ashish, you see, you have just witnessed how he has been talking about how they have used AI and artificial intelligence and chatbots to resolve a lot of the challenges that they had in the system. Now, I wanted your perspective on how and whether AI powered knowledge management systems, how can they really help customer self-service portals and really take it up to another level where it really looks and feels as if the satisfaction of the customer is being met with.
See, I feel that the customer experience nowadays has become a key metric of every business, if you ask me. In most of the meetings when you go, while a few years back it was more in terms of what is your MAU, DAO. I think nowadays people are talking about CSAT, NPS numbers, right? And that is where now there is a focus coming in terms of how AI or artificial intelligence, machine learning, automation, all this can help combine the experiences which is coming from different places. Now AI can definitely help you in terms of one, that what is the basic necessity of giving a very personalized customer experience? It is about knowing your customer as much as you can. And that happens in terms of, whenever you talk about any application, for it means about how much data you have about that customer. And based on that, how much, experience, personalized experience you can give to the customer. For example, if I know that, Mukbil has a social profile of Facebook, I understand and I am able to track his LinkedIn, interactions which he is sharing. I am able to also track that Mukbil is live on, some news channels. Then I will be able to create a lot of customized experiences in that case for Mukbil, right? So that is where AI, machine learning, automation is definitely going to help. The power of data can only be, utilized in the best way by AI. So definitely we have also used it, but since your question is more around, how different AI systems can help, I feel one, that AI can help you in segmenting the data which you are getting. The data which is coming as of today is very, very, important part of AI. And then if you start creating segmentations around it, at that level, if you can create macro segmentations, micro segmentations about the customer, it always allows you to serve much more relevant content to the user whom you are serving, right? Then it also helps you in allowing to self-personalize. So, one part is AI, but also what we have seen is many applications are asking you, how was your experience when you did this transaction? For example, we also ask, you just did a fund transfer, how was your experience? Then we also understand, how this person is liking whatever the intents which you are throwing to that customer. So based on that, again, that becomes as a feed for your AI system, that you have gathered a lot of data, but over and above, the customer himself is telling you that this is something which I understand, and he's willing to share that data. So I feel that like the level of AI can be at a level where when you are talking to a customer, and the tone of the customer also you can analyze. Based on that, you can do the customer experience. One, that customer says, no, I didn't like your pizza, versus he say, what the hell is this pizza? So based on that, your reactions can be different. So that is the power of AI. We are using it within internally as well within our organizations in terms of showing the customer 360 view and many other things. But to cover your question, I think there are a lot of things which can still be explored in terms of AI, in terms of speech recognition, what is the tone of the customer, what has been history. I think AI definitely helps in giving a much, much better customer experience.
Wonderful words coming from Ashish, and he ensured that I feel very trackable across all social media platforms. But Ashish, I would really want you to elaborate a little bit. Of course, you brilliantly spoke about the role that AI can play today in taking this particular aspect up a notch. How have you been experimenting with this, which tools like these, and how has your experience been?
Yeah, so see, what specifically, I am part of NEO, which is a fintech organization, and we are doing a lot of AI based customer experience, but also filtering of the customers. So when I say filtering of the customers, what most of the neobanks does is that they are giving you much better customer experience in terms of opening a bank account, right? If in a traditional way, you have to go to the bank, you have to wait for 2-3 days, and then the account is open. But now what has changed is that you can open a bank account sitting in a sofa in your house in 10 minutes. So how do you make sure that you give one of the best experience to the customer? And then also can you filter the customers whom you do not want? So what we do, Mukbil, in our organization is that as soon as you download the app, right, we take some permissions and we also understand what applications do you already have installed in your app, in your mobile. So based on that, we understand what is the behavior of this customer. If you have an erotic app, then I definitely know that this might be not the best customer who is going to invest, whether it is in mutual funds or in savings accounts, versus if you have a app like Grow or something where you have been investing, then I also understand this is serious customer. Then what we do during the journey of the customer onboarding, We also take your mobile number, your email ID. Based on that, we do a lot of personalization based on what is your CRIF score, what is your CKYC score. And then we also get all the social handles which you have. So if we know, for example, you have a social handle on GitHub, then I know that this customer is really serious, right? And then I give the same level of customer experience to the user. So all this is coming from an AI chatbot, which we have, some part of it is developed from our machine learning, the AI ML team, and then some part of it is outsourced where we use some specific tool. So that is the level of customization we are doing. And unfortunately, in India, there is a lot of unbanked population, and it is very easy to get an Aadhaar card of someone to open the account. I can pay 200, 300 rupees to someone and get the Aadhaar card. And hence, this AI is not only helping us in getting the right customer service, but also helping us in understanding that, this is a relevant customer or authentic customer or not, whom account we are opening. So these are two areas. One, filtering the customers, getting the right customer segment onboarded to our platform, and then giving them the right experience. So we have different modules within the application. One is savings account, the other is track. Track, reads all the SMSs which you have. The customer is giving the permission for that. And based on that, we define some journeys. So if we know when a customer is calling us, then we create a 360 view, and in front of them, a 360 view is presented, which tells that how many transactions he has done with us, what is the amount of the transactions, what is the investment he has done, and it also tells you what is the potential of this customer, right? And that is based on the SMS history. So that again, your tone, your behavior or your reaction to his problem definitely changes based on what is the history of the customer. So these are two primary areas, Mukbil, where we use AI and ML to serve our customers.
Wonderful, Ashish. I think you have brilliantly delineated, your own experimentations with technology and tools like these, and it's really heartening to note, the extent of usage of such technologies and tools. And before I proceed further, I would really want to bring to the notice of the audience here that we would try and have a small question and answer session towards the end. I would request all of you to kindly send in your queries, and we'll try to have as many of them addressed as would be possible. Now, I would really want to bring Vivek into the discussions. Vivek, you have seen Ashish speak about how artificial intelligence, ML, and tools like those have been used or are being used in this customer experience journey. I wanted your inputs on what are some of the other ways, some of the other tools and technologies that can be used in this domain.
Thanks, Maqbool. So the context in which I would speak, customer experience, I would say it is a stakeholder experience, because when we talk about experience, we consider customer, employees, as well as the business partners, right? This is how we put it. So I come from a project manufacturing background, right? Wherein we started our digital journey, say 2017. And when we plan to make some investment, people will say that why you are doing so? Does this increase your revenue or is this reducing your cost? So initially, the experience part of it did not, actually make the why you need to do it. It is not helping and all. That is how we
much sense to them
started, right? And other things like data analytics, robotic process automation, machine learning techniques, etc. was done. Slowly, what happened is that, okay, we said we'll not talk about experience, but can you have a disconnected data? Can you live with that? Can you have different enterprise system having different disconnected data? No, you cannot have. So, okay, the need was that, okay, get this data together in a form where at least you can get the information out quickly. So for that, we found that the infrastructure was not adequate. We cannot go on cloud. We are a very on-premise based company. So all the hyperconverged infrastructure, the server deployment, etc. was done. This was the first phase. Second, the coordination of the application layers, the data lake concept, and all the data was there. What happened then is that we started experimenting with this virtual assistant, and all the stakeholders, what I'm talking about, who before they were only focusing on utilities. It is that it was a pull that experience is required. I mean, it is not that I wanted to give them. It is that they wanted to, have and all. So we started with a simple scalable virtual assistant. It did not have any NLP facilities and all. There would be a button that, okay, this is a task I want to perform. And then the task would get there. That is how we started. So what we found that it actually gave us the benefit in terms of business. We were able to perform the task faster. We also had some of the nuanced benefit, like our employee satisfaction went up like anything. And today, the experience part of it is, we are able to justify when we go to a management that, okay, this is the part which we are doing for the experience part of it. And even if it is for our own employees, business partners, right, that is giving us the benefits. So this is how we have done. I'd like to mention 2-3 challenges which we are trying to overcome. We have people from NICE over here. We are an on-premise company by nature of the business. We are into defense business, and government is our customer. That is a fact, right? So whatever cognitive strength in a tool we want it to be there on my servers, on my computers, right? This is the main basic requirement which we have. Over and above that, there is no limitation or challenges and all. So this is it from my side. Yeah, Mukbil.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, when I was going through your remarks, it's a wonderful strategy. Something that you spoke about in the beginning as to how you really tried and get the digital agenda going, despite the fact that upfront it was very difficult for you to prove an ROI on something which had not been tested or which had not been experimented with. I think this can be a wonderful, wonderful strategy that Vivek has spoken about, as CIOs and technology leaders try and, really try and fulfill their digital agenda and try and convince their respective boards about the needs for doing those, making those implementations, going in for that kind of an adoption. This is really, really wonderful input coming from you, Vivek. And I'm really very glad. In fact, I, for one, I feel very enlightened. So many technology leaders here, they spoke in depth about the journeys that they took in this particular domain, and they spoke about, their own experimentations with the technologies. They also spoke about the challenges that they had confronted earlier, and some of them continue to linger on. It is at this moment that I would want to bring Philip into the discussions. Philip, you have seen and you have heard these technology leaders, their wonderful, wonderful journeys, and also the bottlenecks that they continue to grapple with. I really wanted you to, lay bare on how you can help, how technology can help overcome these challenges that they currently face. Philip.
Thank you. Yeah, there was a lot of interesting elements. Talking about first the new expectation from customer. We talk about use of AI. What are we talking about? So the topic today was about knowledge management in the context of customer experience. Let me share some numbers just to set the stage. You mentioned that in your introductions. 81% of customers today are looking for some form of self-service. They don't want to be calling a call center, wait 20 minutes, if not 2 hours, to get a solution. When you think about today, the use of the web for 60% is about searching information. And typically when a customer is looking at a new service, making a purchase, they're going to spend 40% of their time looking for information themselves. And so that's on the customer side. On the employee side, it's interesting to know that when you call an agent, he's going to spend 40% of his time looking for information, which is a cost for you, obviously a cost for the company and a frustration for the customer. So how do we connect all of that? And that's the kind of challenge we're talking about. And why is it happening? Because basically what we are trying to do here is to say, well, okay, we have customer looking for information. They don't want to call the call center. Very likely, as a company, I do have the information. It's somewhere in my repositories. How do I project this information efficiently so that it can find that very easily? And I don't know you, but me, when I'm looking for information, usually I start on Google. That's how I start. And when I'm looking for a new service, I'll start on Google. So now the question becomes, okay, well, as a company, obviously, I'd like to be able to project my information straight on Google. How do I do that? Ideally, I'd like to bring the customer on my website so that I can start engaging a discussion, or at least, giving more information. Sometimes I'm asking the customer we are helping to say, have you done the test to see whether one information which is on your website, if you put that on Google, are you ranking number on the first page, or are you like page 3? What is the chance for you if you do, okay, I want a home loan in India that we're going to end up on Avas financial website on page 1. So that's one of the challenge. Then when you go on your website, it's all about finding the information easily. Same thing, how do you project information? Today, the challenge is that when it comes to knowledge management, it is a legacy of usually a lot of silo. Every department have their own knowledge management, marketing has their own, production, engineering, and it's not connected, it's not scalable, and it's usually also a pretty cumbersome process to update. And you have some discrepancy between sometimes the information that you project to your customer and the information that your employee, including your agent, may have access to. So which means that the customer will say, we had the example of a customer having information about a promotion. He was calling the agent and say, I'm calling you regarding the promotion. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. So that's, how do we solve that? So right now we solve that by really reorganizing the information, putting a layer where first we are using, those kind of platform, for NICE, it's called CXone Expert, where it brings the idea is to have one platform where you connect all the content and reorganize the content using SEO best practices, which is basically optimizing the way you project this information to both your customer and your agent or your employee. Then obviously you want to be integrating with a lot of things. As an agent, very likely I'm going to be using, I don't know, Salesforce. I want to be able to find information through Salesforce. I want to be able to push that to my website. And so that's the kind of challenge we are trying to solve, and by really projecting very efficiently all this information. Now, if we think about, which is not the future because it's happening now, you start having this new generation of AI. I'm sure that everybody has heard about ChatGPT. This is, OpenAI, and that's new way of, asking an information and having a very constructive narrative. Of course. Announced last week, we have the first integration between our platform and ChatGPT. What does that bring? It means that as a customer, as an agent, I'm able to use this kind of technology, very advanced AI, to tap into all my knowledge and come up with a narrative which is very, I would say, elaborate and very well constructed. So that's kind of, both the challenges and how we address them. But what is at stake is really about serving those customers, those that are looking for self-service, and also making sure that your agent or your employee stops spending 40% of their time looking for information.
Wonderful inputs coming from Philip, and I'm totally with you on this. You're not alone. I also, if I have to fish out or try and track some information, Google is the only place we go. And I'm really glad that you touched on very, very relevant subjects and topics. For example, you spoke about ChatGPT, which is so much into technology discourse as we speak. And you have really, pointed out the pertinent issues in this domain and how do we tackle them. Now, I would really want to bring Sanjay into the discussions. So Sanjay, my question to you is, you have heard all the speakers before you. Uh, how i- how would you, or how is it possible to provide a customer experience platform that can really help organizations provide low effort, high value, and superior and highly personalized experiences?
Sure. Thanks, Mugbir. So, hello, everyone. Thank you, first of all, for your inputs. I think it was very enlightening for me personally to hear from different industries today and the things that you're doing. So, we talked about, two main stakeholders here, customers and employees, and we talked about knowledge management. We talked about different AI technologies, chatbots, and so on and so forth that we are being used. To me, the personal experience actually comes in both the arenas, whether you are trying to acquire a customer or whether you're trying to serve a customer, right? These are two main pieces that you have. To Philip's point on serving the customer most times today, and even though I don't look millennial, but I'm a millennial mindset person, so I also started
Don't
Google.
worry, you look millennial.
I always started Google, and then want to do everything there, whether it's comparison on a product to finding an information or even buying, and everything else happens. So it's all about self-service. Reality is today, if you look at most organizations, when they have looked at different digital channels to put in, whether through your websites, through your mobile app, through your chatbots, at least personally, and I'm making a very, very bold statement, I haven't really found one installation which is fully complete for a complex query, wherein I could actually get an answer without screaming for an agent, right? If it's one-way information, it's fine, no problem. Very simple information, it's very easily available. Now, what happens with this situation is that those tools essentially, instead of personalizing the experience or giving them a low effort, actually ends up a cause of worry or a dissatisfaction to the customer, because they are truly a deflection tool rather than guiding tool, because they are so disjointed in nature, right? You take social media strategy of people, you try and tweet someone on a query or a self-service, there is a complete different response. You try doing a chatbot, it's a very different response. You do an email, it's a very different response. So they are very, very disjointed at the back, and therefore someone was talking about unifying it all at the back. And this is the advantage of having a unified platform, a CX platform, which essentially ties it all together. Wherein at one end, you could have any number of digital channels that you like for acquiring customers or reaching out to customers. And when I say reaching out, it's not just limited to someone calling you or writing into you or chatting with you. It's also giving proactive service when someone is trying to buy a product online, for example, or trying to find information. Today, if I'm looking for a home loan or anything, wouldn't it be nice if there was a AI-based agent assist that would pop up and give me a guidance to navigate through the website, and then take me through a fulfillment? Maybe I'm trying to buy something instantly. If I can get a real-time help, probably I'll proceed and purchase that. That doesn't happen. If you take the lens of customer experience and analyze many websites, you'll find that there are hundreds and hundreds of hits on the website, but they are all getting wasted, and people are not able to take advantage because they're not able to measure some of these. So that's one side of piece that we're looking at from acquiring. The other side really is about customer touch points, as I mentioned. So if you can have all those touch points and then tie them together so that there is context in every conversation, there is a continuity in every conversation, so that you are not able to, you don't need to repeat yourself and go with it. So you could also have conversations going on for multiple days, because we are in world of messaging right now. I don't need to really respond instantly. What if I responded 6 hours later to that query? It should still be able to take that conversation forward, right? So you could have asynchronous communication, which is going on there. And the third piece really comes in, and I think it was, Vivek or Piyush, I don't know who was talking about, I think it was Yogesh, analytics and, using the tools like speech analytics and trying to understand the sentiments and proactiveness of the person as to what are they likely to do as a next action based on their words that they are speaking or the sentiments that they're displaying, so that you are able to either protect that customer or delight them even one more level up there. And that all happens when you have right tools available to your people who are serving them. whether they are serving in a contact center or in a retail branch or anywhere else. If they have the right tools and technologies like knowledge management, for instance, or real-time assistance, then you are able to do this. So you are actually able to match the right person to serve a right kind of query based on the historical analysis, and then you are able to do that. So in all, if I just look at Mukbil, it's not just one piece that essentially provides this whole gamut of things. So therefore, you need a unified platform which essentially ties it all together so that you can take care of all your low effort pieces, because low effort is what is required based on what we know today as customer preference, high value, and personalized, because everyone like to have a hyper personalized experience so that they are looking at some very good service with you.
Right, right. And in all this, how can you help enterprises?
So, well, interestingly, NICE is a very different organization. We are an AI company which also owns a unified platform, which is, we call it CX1. And it is it's a cloud native platform, which essentially is, technology agnostic. So, organizations can take benefit of different applications onto it as a point solution or as a holistic solution. So we cut across everything on omni-channel, for example, whether that's a digital first piece. We look at digital doorstep as a concept, wherein we're saying that we reach the customer where the journey is actually start rather than customer coming to us. And then, process all that together with the employees who are serving, giving them the right tools and technologies to, serve that customer based on, the knowledge management, CRM, and everything else. And then we also take it to the next level of, achieving a very high quality management onto it, because one of the things that you need to really sustain in these experiences is that your quality needs to be monitored. We talked about NPS, we talked about everything else, and how will that happen if you're not able to monitor your conversations and enhance them every time that you see. And then, of course, creating a motivated workforce. And I always say this, that, you could have any technology, you could have any strategy. It's ultimately the people who deliver it and make it a reality. So we need to make sure that your employees are subject matter experts. They have the right tools and the right flexibility. And more and more organizations are also now measuring NPS for employees so that they are motivated and they are able to deliver everything. So CX1, which is our holistic platform, essentially offers all this in a big way. And we are present pretty much in every part of the world and in a leadership position right now, helping several of the organizations.
So this kind of brings us to the end of this roundtable discussion. And as I promised earlier, it's now time for that very small session where, we are going to take questions that have been streaming in from a lot of members of the audience. And as we promised, we would try to accommodate as many of them as time permits. The first question that I have in front of me is from Mr. Anish Shrimali. He has asked a couple of questions. I will club some of them. His question is, how can conversational AI help and enhance customer satisfaction and experience? That is one. The second is about the importance of data and how data lake and data fabric implementation in banking is the need of the hour. I have tried to do a rough job of clubbing both of them because we're already running short of time. Who would want to take this question?
Mukbil, I'll just answer for the AI because we have this voice bot installed.
Right.
And we are working, and quickly just tell you why and how it is different is because there are certain emotional when a human talks, then there are emotional feelings involved, and probably you can do that when you want to convince the customer. But AI conversational bots work very well when they're reminders, right? Reminders or EMI due, etc. All kind of qualifications, lead qualification. You can do that kind of an analysis with voice bot. The reason for reminders is good because it works well because the customer is getting to hear a bot, right? He understands that there's a machine. So there is no conflict with a human, in terms of, no, I don't want to pay, and, conversation like that. It is more like a streamlined and a patient kind of a dialogue happening between them. And then they answer, and you can record that as well, right? So somewhere this works in a certain scenario. These voice bots work in a certain scenario. where this works very well. And we've seen, 100 ROI and 100% ROI in, in such cases, because it works tirelessly and there's no issue. And it works the same, stream, the way we wanted to talk. So it really helps there. So hopefully I've answered that, but just because we're in short of time, so I just wanted to mention that.
No, I think you are bang on, as you try to be brief.
I would
yeah.
like to take this question, one
Sure.
first part of it,
Yeah.
if you don't mind. Yeah, I think because fintechs, I think the question is around fintech and how are we making sure the data is intact. See, one thing which I would like to let everyone know that while fintechs are riding on top of regulatory bodies and financial institutions, we also are assured from our regulators that the data which fintechs are sharing or using or consuming is very, very safeguarded. And some of the examples which I would like to share, one that, all the data which fintechs are taking from customers is divided into two parts, which is called as PII data and non-PII data. So any data which is your personal information, like your email, phone number, name, and so on and so forth, fintechs are not supposed to keep it. They are supposed to pass it on to the regulatory bodies as and when they get it. And even if they are keeping it, as per the regulatory body, you have to keep it in a PII vault. So it is always encrypted and it is never shared with anyone. That is one part of it. And then recently, we have also seen co-branding guidelines coming from RBI very clearly that only co-branded fintech should not be able to have access to the transactional data. So whatever fintechs are trying to do is also mostly providing a layer on top of what financial institutions are doing already. The data is secure and is getting regulated by the financial institutions. So we should not worry too much about that.
Right. Excellent inputs from you, Ashish. Now, I would want to go to a question which I don't agree with. It is kind of a remark, but I would like all of you guys to respond to it if you want. The question or the remark is from Rashmi Gupta. She says that while industry is 4.0, customer service still hovers around 2.0. I would wish to know more if there are use cases on bringing in hearing intelligence into customer service. I see chatbots trying the reading and writing based intelligence, but customer needs to talk and save time. Would anyone want to take this question?
Again, I would like to mention here, because I work extensively on chatbots and voice bot. I feel that it is more of a convenience than actually talking and saving time. It is at ease of your convenience, where you are and where you would want to kind of, and the mediums you have. So like chatbot, if you say you have to download an app and then do a chatbot, chat with a bot, it is good that the whole day people kind of are on WhatsApp, right? So you can just, instead of calling a number, you can just write a message and the bot will reply. It is just that how good your algorithm is, how good your bot is, and what are you eventually kind of giving it to them. For rest, I totally understand you need a one-to-one talk. You need for that you have the branches and you can just walk in for that matter, or also call on other numbers, totally. But for information seeking, I feel bots are the best to say, yeah.
True. Absolutely agree with you. And friends, I think it's been a wonderfully insightful talk. I personally got to learn a lot, and I am enlightened by the stories and the journeys that the technology leaders here have spoken about. I'm really indebted to you. A lot of gratitude in the sense that you shared those stories. But really, in the interest of time, we need to wrap this up. We are already 4 minutes or 2-3 minutes over time. Although I do think, and there are a lot of questions and queries which may be there still, this only goes to show the level of interest and excitement that there is about this topic. However, I would request all of you to get in touch with the representatives here should you persist with your questions and queries. Alternatively, you could also get in touch with us. Thank you all, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us today. It's been a lovely discussion, to say the least.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Have a
you
nice
so
day.
much.
Thank you very
Thank you so
much.
much.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you all the panelists.